Yuta Okkotsu, special grade sorcerer who can copy any curse technique, or Chrollo Lucilfer, the leader of the Phantom Troupe and collector of Nen abilities. This is a commonly debated topic, so let's settle it right now. Between both characters, the one who requires the most explanation is Chrollo Lucilfer, as he can't do all the yapping himself in these circumstances. The Hunter x Hunter antagonist gets his copycat accolade from his specialist type Nen ability, Skill Hunter, by fulfilling a long list of 4 conditions that require, in some part, cooperation with the person Chrollo's stealing the Nen ability from, whether this be through willing means or deception. After successfully completing the required conditions, Chrollo can steal the Nen ability from the victim and store it within his conjured book, Bandit's Secret. As long as this person remains alive, Chrollo can use the stolen power as if it's his own, sometimes awakening new perspectives that the original owner could not. Before going in depth about Chrollo's arsenal of Nen techniques, it's important to justify what level of fighter Chrollo even is. And in order to do that, we need to only look at the kind of power characters from Hunter x Hunter are able to bring against Jujutsu Kaisen. As Okkotsu Yuta himself, being a special grade sorcerer, is one of the most powerful in all of Jujutsu Kaisen. A special grade being said to take down an entire nation with the level of strength they bring to the table. Chrollo Lucilfer only has 2 fights throughout the Hunter x Hunter series, but both of these battles are a massive insight into the fighting potential hidden within the leader of the Phantom Troupe. For starters, Chrollo is an intellectual genius both on and off the battlefield. Being the head captain of a gang of thieves, not only is Chrollo able to plan successful heists against entire mafia organizations, he's cool-headed enough to remain calm even when his life is on the line. In his first fight, Chrollo's able to single-handedly fight 2 of the strongest assassins in the Hunter world, Silva Zoldyck and Zeno Zoldyck, on equal ground. For clarity, they are not just the strongest assassins, but some of the strongest characters in Hunter x Hunter. Both Silva and Zeno are strong enough in their own right to completely one-shot a Chimera Ant general, a creature that had the entire world on red alert because of the danger it caused to the public, and can even give veteran hunters problems. This exact Chimera Ant, named Chitu, was able to dismantle a group of police officers single-handedly, moving too fast for them to even perceive what happened, and also completely avoiding their bullets despite them being mere inches away from the Chimera Ant's face. Not only is Silva able to catch this Chimera Ant off guard, Silva completely splits Chitu's body into pieces while simultaneously creating a humongous crater in the ground from his attack. To which, even Zeno admits, if the Chimera Ant Chitu had seen Silva coming, the result would have been the same. With both Zeno and Silva being much faster than the bullet-blitzing Chimera Ant, and both Zeno and Silva capable of destroying massive structures and areas with their Nen abilities, Dragon Dive, or Explosive Orbs, it's clear the assassins, just on speed and destructive strength alone, could definitely swing at Jujutsu Kaisen's upper level. Yuta Okkotsu himself has displayed similar levels of attack potential on his own merit, and including feats from his guardian Shikigami Rika Orimoto, who always fights with Yuta as a package deal and is also ranked at special grade level. Yuta is much more of a character that sets his mind to something and does it, rather than stops and thinks hard about it. And even at the beginning of his career, Yuta was able to match a veteran special grade Geto Suguru in combat, and even exceed Geto's own stats for a time. By launching an unrestricted Cursed Energy Blast, Yuta was able to blow up almost all of Jujutsu headquarters and win the fight against Geto's all-out attack. And 1 year later, Okkotsu Yuta is able to demolish hordes of Cursed Energy-infused cockroaches that devour humans in seconds with one swing of his sword. Rika Orimoto herself, as the Guardian Spirit, can also bring down entire stadium entrances with her fists, and restrain a powerhouse like Itadori Yuji, the main character who can canonically drag people through buildings and put craters into ceilings by landing on them. When it comes to speed, Yuta's able to keep up with Yuji, who's only slightly slower than Maki Zenin, a character who canonically has the reaction speed to respond to a lightning attack. Maki was able to catch a bullet before she reached her full potential as well, which at the very least should give Okkotsu Yuta enough speed to rival Chrollo, potentially even more when it comes to overall combat stats. You also have to remember that Yuta will be fighting with Rika Orimoto's backup, definitely putting Chrollo on the back foot. However, this is where Chrollo's intelligence and versatility will come into play, as in his fight with Hisoka Moro, Chrollo displays an insane level of preparation and mental fortitude. Hisoka, canonically one of the highest IQ people in Hunter x Hunter, was outplayed multiple times due to Chrollo's tricks and quick thinking. This battle intelligence also gives Chrollo solid ground to fight on, even when outnumbered, as Chrollo's fight with the two assassins proves. Chrollo was still powerful enough to stalemate Silva in a one-on-one fight, and casually handled the 2-on-1 because Chrollo was more focused on stealing Zeno's Nen ability than he really was on winning. Chrollo was also durable enough to withstand every single attack that was thrown at him, some of these blasts absolutely obliterating potentially multiple city blocks if let loose to their fullest. However, Chrollo's biggest issue is that he isn't able to replicate this level of attack power on his own at least. Despite being strong enough to inflict basic physical damage on top-tier threats like the Zoldycks or even Hisoka, Chrollo clearly relies on his intelligence and trickery as a crutch. Gaining advantages against the Zoldycks through poison weaponry, or, as we'll discuss in depth soon, all the different Nen abilities Chrollo is able to use to overwhelm opponents like Hisoka. As at most, Chrollo's most destructive attack is the Sun and Moon Corpse Bomb he sets off that destroys sections of the Heavens Arena. This is a problem, as not only is Okkotsu Yuta able to easily dish out comparable attacks to the Zoldycks, if not more powerful based on his cursed energy blasts, Okkotsu is also much more durable than Chrollo, as when fighting a character like Ishigori Ryu, the Jujutsu sorcerer with the largest curse energy output in history who can destroy multiple city blocks in a row with his Granite Blast beam, Yuta is casually deflecting these hyper attacks with his bare hands. And after taking damage from Ishigori, Yuta Okkotsu has reverse curse technique, an ability that allows one to heal and recover from their injuries. And because Yuta canonically has one of the largest amounts of curse energy in the series, his stamina levels are extremely high, so even if Yuta does take damage, it can easily be reversed. Which means it's time to discuss the different copied abilities that each character has at their disposal. Physical stats aren't everything, and because Chrollo canonically uses Batman tactics, we'll have to understand how each character's techniques interact to get a full picture. Both Yuta and Chrollo have specific conditions they need to abide by in order to make their technique fair and use their stolen abilities. Yuta, through his connection with Rika Orimoto, activates his copy technique through a ring on his finger, giving Yuta access to all of his copied curse techniques for 5 minutes, as well as extra curse energy and a fully manifested Guardian in Rika, whereas Chrollo is able to use his stolen Nen abilities at any time with Skill Hunter, with no time limit. However, Chrollo can only use one of these powers at a time. Chrollo's book, Bandit Secret, stores the abilities on singular pages, and the effects can be activated once Chrollo turns to that page, and the ability will cease when the book is closed or turn to another page. Now, in order to get around this restriction, Chrollo created a bookmark named Double Face. By placing the bookmark on an ability page, if Chrollo closes the book, he can still use that chosen power. This lets Chrollo free his hands up to fight in close quarters, or perform abilities that require 2 hands. The bookmark can also let Chrollo turn to another page in his book, while maintaining the activation of the marked page, giving Chrollo access to 2 abilities at once. In the manga, some of these Nen powers have unfortunately been lost due to the deaths of the original owners, but for the purposes of this matchup, we'll give Chrollo his peak version, as he hasn't yet fought again since losing them. Now, again, Yuta Okkotsu is a much more straightforward fighter. His copied techniques consist of things like sky manipulation, which can turn the sky into a reflective surface similar to a lens flare effect. This can either deflect projectile attacks, or crack the surface of the sky against an opponent to do massive damage. Yuta can also conjure more Shikigami to swarm around an opponent and surround them, creating a small barrier that allows the Shikigami to attack freely in that area. Considering Yuta is already an aggressive brawler, and Rika will also be adding on pressure, Chrollo can easily get overwhelmed. But this is where Chrollo's brain kicks in, as his stolen Nen abilities are much more devious than offensive. While Chrollo does have abilities like indoor fish that swim through the air of sealed room and devour human flesh, the powers that are a lot more scary in terms of this battle are Nen abilities like Fun Cloth, that conjure a cloth for Chrollo that after covering an opponent will shrink the victim dramatically until they can fit in the user's hand. A simple parlor trick, but one that could easily trick a lower intelligent being like Rika amidst the confusion of battle. On its own, Fun Cloth isn't dangerous, but with the added effects of Nen abilities like Gallery Fake, a technique that allows Chrollo to create a copy of any inanimate object, something that allowed the original owner Kortapi to recreate 15 40-foot tall buildings to confuse anyone who was following them, or gave Chrollo the power to conjure over 200 corpse puppets at once. While Yuta and Chrollo won't be fighting in front of an audience of victims, Gallery Fake gives Chrollo the option to copy weapons or the environment itself and mold the setting of the battle to his advantage. Gallery Fake does not allow the replication of living beings, and it's unknown exactly how that condition would interact with the Guardian Shikigami Rika, if at all. Chrollo does have another stolen ability, Order Stamp, which, when affixed onto a puppet, allows Chrollo to give them simple commands such as destroy the opponent. Obviously, if Chrollo can create a copy of Rika and command it to fight alongside of him, let alone multiple clones of Rika from that first replica, that battle would immediately become lopsided. Now, I could see this argument being put into play, although I doubt Gallery Fake would be able to interact with Rika in the first place. It's an interesting thought though. Yuta himself also has plenty of support techniques that can be employed to help hold his advantage against Chrollo, such as Yuta's copy technique of precognition, a power stolen from Charles Bernard that after drawing a quote-unquote manga panel on the opponent, bestows the user future sight for up to 2 seconds. If Yuta is able to mark Chrollo with this power, Chrollo will lose all ability to plan ahead. At least, all element of surprise would be lost, as Yuta will always know what's next. And for a character like Chrollo, who relies on lying in the shadows and attacking an opponent's weakness, this is the worst possible outcome. Chrollo does still have more battle-oriented abilities, such as a teleportation power, that can even affect opponents non-consensually. Chrollo does not have to move, nor look at the people he teleports, or where he teleports them to. While similar in nature to Boogie Woogie, because of the restrictions of Chrollo's book, he can't exactly use this on a dime, and would need to focus his strategy primarily around teleportation. Now, Chrollo's power, Convert Hands, does give him the power to switch appearances with someone, and that might work perfectly with teleporting. In the original Hisoka fight, by touching someone with his left hand, Chrollo can take on the person he's touching's appearance. When touching someone with his right hand, that person takes on Chrollo's appearance. If Chrollo touches someone with both hands, they'll both switch appearances instantly. Chrollo originally used this to constantly confuse Hisoka with puppets and hide amongst the crowd. However, in a less spectated fight, Chrollo can still use Convert Hands to take on Yuta's appearance, or change Yuta to look like Chrollo, something that in a normal one-on-one fight wouldn't mean much, but in a battle that includes your love-obsessed Guardian Shikigami, it might just confuse the hell out of Rika. Rika is very possessive of Yuta, willing to hurt anyone who opposes or upsets him. Rika, also due to her curse-like nature, isn't the smartest, and is easily tempted or talked into doing things. Convert Hands literally only swaps appearances. It does not change over powers, abilities, stats, or anything. So if Convert Hands can't fool Rika's cursed energy senses, if she has any, this plan may fail. But if it works, it's possible Chrollo could turn Rika against Yuta, and considering Chrollo can bookmark teleportation and use Convert Hands interchangeably, this could be another devastating way Chrollo could use Rika to his advantage against Yuta. So far, you can already see most of the battle scenarios we've covered involve Chrollo having to rely on the hope he can somehow turn Rika against Yuta. This is all because Chrollo doesn't really have the actual attack power to defeat Yuta with his own merit. And if you don't believe Yuta or Rika would be able to fall for any of these tricks, Chrollo's intelligence here does not make up for those faults. To be honest, the only real guaranteed win condition on Chrollo's part is if he manages to catch Yuta or Rika off guard with the Black Voice Nen ability, a power that allows Chrollo to immediately gain complete control over a victim once they're stabbed with one of Chrollo's 2 antennas. Chrollo can then give commands to the manipulated victim through a phone, meaning if Chrollo can get Rika with Black Voice, Chrollo, once again, for the 3rd time, could try and turn Rika against Yuta, which honestly might be Chrollo's best bet besides just putting her away in his pocket with Fun Cloth. Or, as Hisoka even mentions in their fight, if Chrollo injects his opponent with the antenna, it's an instant win, which is why Chrollo likes to feint his opponent with both antennas, making them cautious to get too close. Ironically, Okkotsu Yuta also has the copied curse technique Curse Speech, which is a much better version of manipulation than Black Voice. While not as permanent, cursed speech travels by sound rather than connecting an antenna to the body, meaning as long as Chrollo can hear the command that Yuta gives, Chrollo is at Yuta's total mercy. From simple demands like stop moving, which will stop Chrollo in his tracks long enough for Rika or Yuta to hold him down for a final attack, there are also commands like get crushed or blast away, which can halt Chrollo's plans and launch him afar. And to be completely honest with you, even if Chrollo somehow does fulfill one of those prior win conditions against Rika, Yuta will always have the superior ground in battle due to his domain expansion. Whether Rika's being controlled, hidden inside Fun Cloth, or being confused by convert hands, Yuta is canonically able to cast his domain without Rika being anywhere near him. A sorcerer's domain expansion casts a large barrier that traps an opponent inside, where Yuta's curse technique is guaranteed to hit without fail, no matter what Chrollo does. And inside Yuta's territory, named Authentic Mutual Love, Yuta can use any copy technique of his as the sure-to-hit effect. And Yuta's most lethal technique would for sure be Ryomen Sukuna's Cleave, that Yuta copied by eating the last Sukuna finger. By enacting Cleave, an endless rain of slash attacks properly adjusted to account for an opponent's durability will drench Chrollo inside a trap that he has no escape or defense against. And this is the overwhelming win condition for Yuta. Considering Chrollo is neither fast enough to dodge an all-encompassing barrier, and due to the domain separating the two into a pocket dimension, it's unlikely Chrollo could just teleport out of the territory. The area of effect would also be large enough to expand and capture Chrollo from a distance, or include all three participants in the fight if Chrollo's trying to constantly switch appearances, not giving Chrollo any chance to take advantage of confusion. A domain is also impenetrable from the inside, and only weak from the outside, meaning if Chrollo hasn't set up any previous traps that he can use, domain expansion is a for sure game over. Chrollo does have one last Nen ability known as Paired Destruction Sun and Moon. By conjuring both a sun and moon, or plus and minus sign, Chrollo can affix these symbols on someone or a conjured object, and when the two symbols meet, it can create a lethal explosion. Weirdly enough, this Nen ability grew so strong after its owner's death, it remained in Chrollo's book despite his conditions. And as such, the symbols remain even after the book's page has been turned or closed. If a conjured object has been marked with a sun or moon, the object won't disappear until the bomb has gone off. While Chrollo can abuse this Nen ability to create multiple bombs and sneak attacks, the problem is none of these explosions will be able to kill Yuta in one blast, even if massively stacked on. Okkotsu Yuta has reverse curse technique to heal, and judged on his handling of attacks like Granite Blast or Sukuna's dismantles, he should be able to handle them. And if Chrollo somehow sets off a sun and moon explosion outside of Yuta's domain to break it, not only will Yuta be able to regain all of his techniques and stamina back after a short cooldown, Rika will completely disappear, immediately rendering any of Chrollo's win cons useless while Yuta recovers. Chrollo also will have to be managing his Nen abilities in a way that's disadvantageous to him the entire battle, since no clear-cut combination gives Chrollo an edge against Yuta, compared to the sorcerer that just has to finish the fight in his allotted time with access to everything at his disposal. Even after trying to explore every possible avenue on how this fight could go, Yuta vs Chrollo truly is a one-sided massacre. As much as everyone hypes this matchup up, once Yuta's domain expansion comes into play, the fight got a lot less close. And even without it, Chrollo's fighting an uphill battle regardless. Thanks so much for watching, hit that like button and click an end screen video to continue your binge. See you guys in the next one. Peace.